Well, hello again. Welcome to, I guess, the electric gear review to end 2025 here. I haven't owned, well, that's not entirely true. I haven't really played electric guitar that much in the 20 years since I learned how to play guitar. I didn't even play guitar all that much in the 20 years since I learned how to play guitar. So it's not surprising that I didn't really gravitate towards electric guitar as much. But one of the things I did this year was I bought another electric guitar. So in my life, I've owned four electric guitars. Three of them were Fenders, and one of them was a Gibson or an Epiphone Les Paul. Of the four of them, I've owned two Telecasters that have basically been the same setup. And so in the history of my guitar owning, the first electric guitar that I bought was, I want to say when I was 19 or something. So I bought my Yamaha acoustic when I was 18. And then I want to say it was either that summer when I moved home from university, or it was the next summer when I turned 19 that I actually bought myself a Fender Squirer Telecaster, or a Fender Squirer Stratocaster. I'm so sorry. There's different guitars. And it was the Stratocaster, and it was black with the white pick guard, and it came with a practice amp, but I want to say it was maybe 10 to 15 watts, and it might have been called a Champion 2 or something like that. I could be incredibly wrong about that name, and that's totally fine, but it was the black hard edge cabinet to it. It had, your standard knobs and everything like that, but it was just a starter beginner practice amp. I think in total the entire thing cost me maybe $600 at most. And then after I left Ottawa and graduated from school, I moved to Toronto, and I lived in Toronto for the next 13 or so years of my life, where I bought myself an Epiphone Les Paul while I was living there. And I really liked that because the neck and the setup of it was very similar to the Yamaha acoustic that I had. I just found the Strat that I had, it had the rosewood fretboard on it, and I didn't like it as much. It didn't feel as good to do slides and stuff, where I think this is maple, just feels more natural to do that with. And so the Les Paul felt more natural for doing that with, as well as this setup was very similar to the Yamaha acoustic that I had at the time. And so I found that I had switched off between those more than I did the actual Fender Squirer Stratocaster that I had. So then those two electric guitars and that amp stayed in my apartment that was on Bathurst Street when I moved in with my then girlfriend at the time, and I just kept my acoustic guitar. So I don't know what happened to them after that, but they were left behind in that apartment. When I lived in Montreal in 2023, I bought myself an actual Telecaster while I was there at Steve's in Montreal, and I got the Telecaster that had the maple fretboard, and I think it had it was either yellow or it was the clear, so that you could see the actual wood underneath it. And I really liked that guitar. I didn't have it for very long. I think that also got left behind in the closet with the acoustic that I had at the time when I moved out of Montreal. But yeah, when I got back here in the summer, after I'd been spending more time playing acoustically, I was like, oh, I should probably get an electric at this point in time. So I was in Toronto in the summer, and I went to Steve's in Toronto, and I got this guy. This is a Fender Squirer Telecaster. It's, I think it's the upgraded model. So it has slightly better pickups and stuff. I think it has a slightly nicer neck than you would get on your standard Squirer. And it ran me, I think this was less than $700, which was pretty good, which was pretty great. So yeah, I've been really happy with it. I changed the strings. So I've always used Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. I moved down a size actually. So after I changed the strings on my acoustic, I change the strings on my electric as well. So my super slinkies that I use are the, does this even have a name? No, not necessarily. It's the 9 through 42s. So they're like slightly thinner than your regular set, which I think are the green. They're like the lime green ones. Anyways, so that's what I use. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun to play around with. I gravitated towards this sort of guitar because like I like to play a lot of stuff that you can sort of play solo. So I like sort of blues and like country and folk and like early rock and roll to some extent, because you can get away with playing that on your own. So yeah, things that I've messed around with on this that I've had a lot of fun with. Learning Little Richard. I kind of learned how to play Slippin' and Slidin' by ear, though I don't even play it properly, because like my intro, I do like... So I don't know where I got the, because that might be like the horn line or something in the background, or it might be an amalgam of like the drums with like a horn or something. But now that I listen to it, every time I listen to it again, I'm like, oh, that thing isn't in there. But that's what I decided would be sort of the intro of my version for the cover would be, so that's how I just play it. So yeah, so I have that, and that's it's just fun to like play around with that kind of stuff on it. I've kind of started to get back into like doing lead work stuff, though I was never much of a lead guitarist. I preferred playing rhythm, because when you're playing by yourself, it's generally easier if you want to try to like sing along with stuff to play that way. So anyways, yeah, I have my strap for it, which is just plain black, and then for my acoustic, I have this fun sort of flowery sort of pattern, which I like to have. And so you can switch those up as you want to, obviously. One of the things I've had for forever that I've used as a bookend a lot in my life when I haven't had an electric guitar is my Marshall amp. This thing's awesome. It clips on. I remember seeing Jack Black have one of these in School of Rock, and I was like, oh, I've got to get one of those, because I had this like Fender amp and I wanted to have like a slightly different sound to practice with, and I thought this was perfect. So this is great. It really only runs on like overdrive, and it sounds great, and it's fantastic. So yeah, this has been a really fun thing. I've had this for like 20 years. I got this in Ottawa at Steve's Music, I'm pretty sure. So that's a thing that I own. I also have this orange amp, and this guy I've had for, I don't know, like 13 years, maybe 15. I got this, I believe, at Steve's in Toronto as well. This was like $100 when I got it, I think. But it's pretty great because like it has the out on it, so like you can apparently use it as sort of like a preamp into a much larger amp, which is something I might try someday, just for, you know, the fun of it. But yeah, this thing's also a lot of fun. It really only has that blown out like overdrive orange sound to it, but that's fine, because sometimes that's what you want. So it's nice to have these as like options of what you can like play around with. And they were nice because they were small, so they could travel from place to place with me. But yeah, most recently, the biggest purchase that I picked up, and this is actually the most expensive piece of music equipment that I own, is my Fender Blues Junior amp. And so this guy is pretty badass. It, you know, it has that classic sort of Fender Blues amp sound to it. I like the like honk that you can get out of it. Yeah, I just I couldn't ask for like a better amp at this point in time. And it also like, it sounds really good with all the different sort of pedals and stuff I've got into trying to run through it and practice around with, play around with it. So it's been a lot of fun to have like a real amp again. The first pedal that I picked up, before I even got the amp actually, was I got a Nano Big Muff Pi. I used to have the larger version of this because when I first started playing guitar when I was 18, you know, I was a huge fan of the White Stripes. I'm still a huge fan of the White Stripes, let's be honest, but like I was a huge fan at that point in time, and I just wanted to have that, get close to that sort of like Jack White sound. And so I had the larger version of it. I'm not sure what happened to the pedal. I think it got left behind in Toronto somewhere, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I picked up the Nano Big Muff Pi to run into stuff after I got my electric guitar, because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna want to try to like get back to that sound at some point in time. And this is the most boomer thing I think I'll say for a while, but I've actually found playing with this that it's a lot harsher sounding than I remember it, and so I don't actually use this as much, but that's okay because I found a really good replacement, and I'll tell you about that in a second. So that's the first thing that I got. And then the second thing that I got was another trip that I went down to Toronto. I walked into Steve's there again, and I picked up this guy. This is a Crybaby. Wow, this is the 95Q, I believe. Yeah, 95Q. And so this, just as soon as you press down on it, it activates it. So you don't have to worry about clicking it on and clicking it off, which is fantastic. You just put your foot down, put your foot off, and it works. And this has become my favorite. This is my favorite thing to play around with because I like the sound that it gives you. I use it on the widest possible frequency because I just like that sound. And it's been a lot of fun to play around with, and I've like started to play music that I have listened to for a lot in my life through it, just to give it like a different vibe and to make it, you know, maybe to refresh it in my mind. And it's actually perfect for that. I love it. So that's that. And then most recently, I traded in, I had a Yamaha acoustic with the cutout that I had for a little bit of time. I traded that in so that I could get 2 more pedals. And so the first one that I picked up that I definitely wanted to get was I got an Ibanez Tube Screamer, sorry, I should enunciate my words. I got this guy, it's been fantastic. Does exactly what you want it to do. It's that very sort of warm overdrive sound, and it's just fantastic. It's great. I love it. It works really well with the wah pedal as well, and I have no complaints about it. It does exactly what it's advertised to do. I'm very happy with that pedal. And then the coolest thing that I got, I was talking to somebody in the store about the Tube Screamer, and I had looked at this in the shop, but I hadn't said anything about it yet, and they actually were like, you should try this out if you like the White Stripes. And I was like, cool, what is it? And it's this. It's called the Blue Box. It's just, you plug this thing in, it basically does everything that Jack White does in his music through this one box. It is fantastic. It's a lot of fun, but I've been trying to limit myself on how much I use it because I want to get used to using, you know, the other stuff first. So that, because like in some ways, like this is amazing. It's great. I love it. It kind of feels like I'm cheating. Like it kind of feels like I'm like taking the shortcut. And so I'm like, okay, yes, I will use it. Yes, I love using it. I've tested it. It's been fantastic. I have no complaints about this little pedal at all. It's perfect for capturing that sound, but I'm also a bit of like a person who is like, well, I'm learning, so I want to start the proper way, I guess, to some extent. And so yeah, I've been trying to force myself to use the other stuff, but yeah, every once in a while I like to just plug it in. I like to use it at the lowest blend setting because I find if you go all the way to this end, it is just like, I call it heavy metal MIDI. Is really, it's just like, it's like if you took like a Nintendo video game soundtrack and like made it heavy metal. That's what the blend on like this side does. So I always run it at the low end because it gives you that distorted, that distorted sort of like sustainy sound, reverby sound that you want to get out of something like this, versus like I haven't quite figured out how to use the heavy metal MIDI setting yet, but that's also because like the kind of music that I've been trying to play doesn't lend itself to that yet, and that's totally fine. It's a learning thing. I'll get to it, but yeah, that's my current collection of electric gear. And yeah, it's been fun since getting those things to spend more time playing through it like an actual amp again. I think that was the biggest thing that was holding me back, was I only had those small amps, and now having like an actual official amp again makes it so much easier to actually try to play through. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But as I said, like, you have to plug everything in and all of that, and like I find a lot of the times when I want to play, I just want to like play right now. I don't want to like wait for the amp to warm up. I don't want to wait for, you know, having to plug everything in that I want to use and all the rest of it. I like just being able to like pick up whatever it is that I want to work with and then just start working. And I don't know, maybe that's years of being a barista at Play There, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to like sit down and like do, but I also find like there's a lot of like thinking that I have to do with it, where I'm like, okay, what am I actually going to practice with? What am I actually going to plug in today? But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and this is where I've gotten to so far with this obsession. I mean, we'll see where we go from here, but I think this is a pretty solid beginning for me, and even like midpoint, I feel like this will last me for a while at least, which is really nice as well, because yeah, like amp, pedal, all the rest of it, even if it lasts you for like 10 years, that's a really good investment, but like you're really looking at like a lifetime of playing it. And so yeah, I'm very happy with these things that I picked up. I'm very excited to like spend more time with them. But as I said, like there's just the ease of picking up acoustic. That's where I tend to gravitate towards too at this point. But anyways, that's I guess my gear review for my electric stuff from 2025. So have a great day out there.